Martha Hale had spent 25 years walking the halls of St. Vincent Hospital. She knew the rhythm of this place better than she knew the beat of her own heart. The soft hum of ventilators, the beeping of heart monitors, the hushed voices of nurses exchanging updates during shift changes, and most of all, the quiet moments of connection. The way a scared patient would squeeze her hand before surgery, the way she could calm a child's fears with a simple lullaby, the way a family would find comfort in her presence, even when the news was devastating. She had devoted her life to this job, and today, it would be taken away from her. She just didn't know it yet. A regular morning, or so she thought. Martha adjusted her scrubs and walked into room 314. An elderly woman, Mrs. Linda Carmichael, looked up with a weak smile. "There's my favorite nurse," Linda said, her voice raspy. Martha chuckled, checking the monitors. "You say that to everyone," Linda smirked. "Only the ones who actually care." Martha glanced at the vitals. Something felt off. The AI system had flagged no issues, but years of experience told Martha otherwise. She gently touched Linda's wrist, feeling her pulse. A little erratic. "I'm going to request some tests," Martha said, "just to be safe." Linda sighed. "Honey, I trust you more than that machine." Martha smiled. And that was why she had spent 25 years here. Because no algorithm could replace human intuition. Or at least, that's what she thought. The meeting that changed everything. Halfway through her shift, a message came through her hospital tablet. Mandatory staff meeting, 2 p.m. Martha frowned. Unannounced staff meetings? Never a good sign. When she arrived in the conference room, she saw Dr. Alan Rhodes, the hospital's director, standing at the podium. Beside him, a representative from MedTech Solutions, the leading company in AI healthcare automation. A cold feeling settled in Martha's stomach. This wasn't going to be good. Dr. Rhodes cleared his throat. "We're here today to discuss an exciting new chapter for St. Vincent Hospital," he began. Martha's grip on her pen tightened. Rhodes gestured toward the MedTech representative, a young woman in a sleek gray suit. "As you all know, advancements in AI healthcare have allowed us to optimize patient care while reducing human error. That's why, starting next month, we will be fully integrating MedTech's AI nursing assistants." A murmur spread through the room. Martha felt her chest tighten. She knew what was coming next. Rhodes continued, "We have made the difficult decision to restructure our nursing staff. Effective immediately, we will be downsizing our human nursing team in favor of AI-driven care." The entire room fell silent. Then, protests. Shocked whispers. A younger nurse, barely out of school, raised her hand. "Wait, does this mean we're being let go?" The MedTech rep smiled too easily. "This isn't a termination. It's an opportunity for transition." Martha clenched her fists. That was corporate speak for "you're fired." Dr. Rhodes adjusted his tie. "We understand this is sudden, but AI-driven care has proven to be more efficient and cost-effective. Patients will still receive excellent care, just with a modernized approach." Someone scoffed. Martha stood up. "Let me get this straight," she said, her voice steady but sharp. "You're replacing nurses, real, trained, experienced nurses, with machines." The MedTech rep barely blinked. "The AI will handle routine tasks, vitals monitoring, medication distribution." Martha's blood boiled. "Routine tasks? You think nursing is just passing out pills and checking temperatures?" Dr. Rhodes sighed. "Martha, let's be reasonable." Martha took a step forward. "No, let's be clear. When a scared child wakes up from surgery, they don't want a machine. When an elderly patient is confused and frightened, they need a human hand to hold. When a family hears the worst news of their lives, they don't want a screen telling them it's protocol." Her voice trembled. "This isn't about efficiency. It's about money." The MedTech rep remained composed. "We understand this is an emotional time, but the data speaks for itself. AI healthcare is the future." Martha wanted to scream. Instead, she looked around the room. Some nurses looked furious. Others looked defeated. And then she saw it. The white envelope on the table, her name on it, her severance package. This wasn't a warning. It was already decided. Dr. Rhodes sighed. "We truly appreciate your years of service, Martha. But this is progress." Martha let out a bitter laugh. "Progress, that's what they called it." But all she could think was, how do you fight a machine that doesn't care if you win? The walk of shame. Martha walked out of that room in a daze. Her world had changed in a single meeting. The hospital she had given her life to had replaced her like she was nothing. She reached her locker, pulling out the family photo taped inside. Her son, Ethan. Her son who worked for MedTech Solutions. A lump formed in her throat. Did he know that the company he worked for had just destroyed her career? Martha's hands shook as she gathered her things. She turned toward the hallway and froze. A brand new AI nurse assistant stood at the nurse's station, its sleek robotic arms sorting medications, its digital screen flashing patient vitals. The machine looked right at her. Not with understanding, not with compassion, not with any of the care she had spent 25 years giving. Just cold, efficient indifference. Martha's jaw tightened. She had spent her life healing others. Now, she had to figure out how to heal herself. And she had no idea where to start. Martha sat in her car, gripping the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. Her severance package sat on the passenger seat, a stark reminder that her career, her purpose, was gone. She had spent 25 years saving lives, comforting, patients, working overnight shifts to make sure people didn't die alone. And now? She was obsolete. She inhaled sharply, trying to hold herself together. But when she looked up and saw the hospital billboard, a bright, modern ad for MedTech Solutions AI nurse assistants, her composure snapped. The future of healthcare eyes here. A smiling family. A sleek, metallic AI robot standing next to them. The tagline in bold letters, safer, faster, smarter, no human error. Martha's stomach twisted. No human error. As if human care was a problem that needed to be fixed. She clenched her fists and slammed the car into drive, tears stinging her eyes. Job hunting at 54. Martha spent the next 2 weeks applying for jobs anywhere that would take her. Hospital-ers? We're transitioning to an AI-assisted model. Private clinics? We're only hiring RNs with AI experience. Nursing homes? We need someone younger who can adapt to new technology. The rejection emails piled up, and every single one of them said the same thing: you don't fit our needs at this time. Martha wasn't stupid. She knew what they meant. She was too old, too traditional, too human. She stared at the screen, her vision blurry. Was this it? Was this how her story ended? A betrayal she never saw coming. Martha sat in her kitchen, staring at her untouched cup of coffee. Her son Ethan sat across from her, scrolling through his phone. She hesitated before finally asking, "Did you know?" Ethan glanced up. "Know what?" Martha exhaled sharply. That medtech was replacing nurses with AI, that they were going to fire people like me. Ethan's expression tightened. "Mom, it's not like that. AI isn't replacing nurses, it's helping them." Martha's voice trembled. "Helping them?" "Ethan, I just lost my job. They didn't help me, they erased me." Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. "I mean, yeah, it sucks. But AI can do things humans can't. It reduces mistakes. It's the future of healthcare." Martha's heart sank. "You actually believe that?" Ethan sighed. "Mom, I'm in tech. I see the numbers. AI diagnoses faster. It prevents human fatigue errors. It's not personal, it's just progress." Martha shook her head. "How can you say that? How can you be okay with the fact that the company you work for just took away my career?" Ethan set his phone down. "Because it wasn't personal, Mom. It's business." Martha flinched, like a slap to the face. A long silence stretched between them. Ethan hesitated. "Look, there might be something I can do." Martha swallowed hard. "What do you mean?" Ethan shifted uncomfortably. "MedTech is hiring AI integration specialists. They need former nurses to help train the system, refine its responses. You wouldn't be bedside anymore, but..." Martha pushed back from the table. Her chair scraped loudly against the floor. "You want me to train the machine that took my job?" Ethan raised his hands defensively. "Mom, it's a good salary. You'd be working with AI instead of against it." "You could..." Martha cut him off, her voice shaking. "I spent 25 years holding the hands of dying patients, Ethan. You think I want to teach a robot how to pretend to care?" Ethan exhaled. "Mom, this is the world now. You can either fight it or adapt." Martha felt her stomach drop. Her own son. Her own flesh and blood was telling her to give up. Martha's voice dropped to a whisper. "I thought you understood what I did, what my job meant." Ethan looked away. "I do. But technology moves forward, Mom. It's not about you." Martha's chest tightened. That was the worst part. He actually meant it. This wasn't about her, she was just collateral damage. Ethan sighed. "Look, just think about it, okay? The job offer's there if you want it." Martha didn't answer, because she already knew her answer. She wasn't going to train the thing that stole her purpose. She wasn't going to become part of the problem. But what was she going to do? She had no idea. All she knew was, she wasn't ready to disappear. Martha sat in her darkened living room, her untouched dinner sitting cold on the table. It had been 3 weeks since she lost her job. 3 weeks of rejection emails, unread job applications, and awkward silences whenever she ran into former colleagues who still had work. 3 weeks of trying to ignore the sinking feeling that she no longer had a place in the world. And now, her own son. The boy she had raised, the boy who had watched her work endless night shifts just to put food on the table, was telling her to accept defeat. Martha closed her eyes, exhaling shakily. She had spent her whole life taking care of others. So what happened when no one needed her anymore? An unwanted job offer her phone buzzed. She glanced down. MedTech Solutions, AI Integration Specialist, the offer Ethan had told her about. A high salary, full benefits, stability. The only catch? She'd be training AI to replace more nurses like her. Martha hovered over the email. She thought about the bills piling up. The rent that wasn't going to pay itself. The fact that every hospital had shut its doors on her. Maybe Ethan was right. Maybe this was the only way forward. Maybe she had no choice. Martha swallowed the lump in her throat. Her finger inched toward the accept offer button. But before she could click, her phone buzzed again. A number she didn't recognize. Hesitant, she answered. "Hello?" A weak, familiar voice crackled through the line. "Martha, it's Linda." Martha's heart dropped. Linda. Her former patient. The AI system's first mistake, Martha grabbed her keys and sped toward Linda's house. The moment she stepped inside, her chest tightened. Linda sat slumped in her chair, her face pale and clammy. Her home AI medical assistant, a sleek, futuristic device that monitored her vitals, blinked softly in the corner. It hadn't triggered an emergency alert, hadn't called for help, hadn't done anything. Martha rushed to Linda's side, pressing her fingers to the older woman's wrist. Her pulse was erratic, weak. "Linda," Martha said urgently, "when did this start?" Linda's voice was barely above a whisper. "This morning. I told the AI I wasn't feeling right, but it said my vitals were normal." Martha's stomach turned. The machine had made a critical error. It had read Linda's stats, but it hadn't felt her skin clam up, seen the paleness in her face, heard the shakiness in her breath. It hadn't known, because it wasn't human. Martha grabbed her phone. "I'm calling an ambulance." "No," Linda croaked. "The AI didn't flag it, so my insurance won't cover it." Martha froze. Of course. The insurance company had fully integrated AI diagnostics into their approval system. No AI alert, no coverage. Her blood boiled. Linda needed help. But a machine had decided she wasn't sick enough. This wasn't progress. It was a death sentence. Martha ignored the insurance policy. She called 911 anyway. Because this wasn't about protocol. This was about saving a life. Minutes later, an ambulance arrived. The paramedics confirmed what Martha already knew. Linda was in the early stages of heart failure, and if she had waited for the AI system to decide she was worth saving, she would have been dead by morning. Martha stood frozen on Linda's porch as the ambulance disappeared into the night. Her pulse pounded in her ears. She had spent weeks feeling useless, feeling like she didn't belong. But right now, she had just saved a life, not a machine, not an algorithm, her. And suddenly, Martha knew exactly what she needed to do. Martha sat in her car, gripping the steering wheel, her mind racing. She had spent weeks believing she was useless. And yet tonight, a machine had failed where she hadn't. She had saved Linda's life, not because of a data analysis, not because of an algorithm, but because she had looked her patient in the eye and knew something was wrong. And that's when it hit her. How many more people were slipping through the cracks? How many other elderly patients were trusting these machines, only to be left suffering in silence because a screen told them they were fine? How many nurses, just like her, had been replaced by technology that was far from perfect? Martha set her jaw. She had spent her life healing people, and she wasn't done yet. She grabbed her phone and dialed a number she hadn't called in weeks. Lisa Carter, her best friend, and another nurse who had been let go. Lisa picked up almost immediately. "Martha?" Martha took a deep breath. "We need to talk." Exposing the truth. The next morning, Martha sat in Lisa's tiny apartment, surrounded by stacks of old medical reports and files. Lisa poured coffee, watching her carefully. "You look like hell," Lisa said. Martha let out a humorless laugh. "I feel like hell." Lisa took a seat across from her. "All right, what's going on?" Martha told her everything. About Linda. About the AI misdiagnosis. About how the insurance company wouldn't cover emergency care unless the machine flagged it. First. Lisa's expression darkened. "I knew this AI crap would cause problems. But this is negligence." Martha nodded. "We need to do something." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" Martha hesitated. Then an idea formed. "We go public." Lisa blinked. "Public?" "We tell the truth. We show people that AI healthcare isn't foolproof, that it's failing patients, that it's costing lives." Lisa leaned back in her chair, considering. "You really think people will listen to us?" Martha's grip tightened around her coffee mug. "They will when they realize they could be next." The story goes viral. Martha and Lisa spent the next 2 days gathering evidence. Testimonies from other nurses who had seen AI misdiagnose patients, data from hospitals showing increased cost efficiency but worse patient outcomes, stories from families who had lost loved ones because the AI failed to recognize symptoms in time. Then, they reached out to someone who could make people listen. Noah Carter, a journalist known for exposing corporate corruption. Lisa had gone to high school with him. A few calls later, he was all in. Within a week, Noah published a feature article, "The Dark Side of AI Healthcare: How Cost-Cutting Measures Are Endangering Lives." Martha's story was at the center. So was Linda's. And the response? Explosive. The article spread like wildfire. Thousands of comments. Outrage. News outlets picked it up. People demanded answers. And then, the hospital called. The fight begins. Dr. Alan Rhodes, the same man who had fired her without a second thought, was suddenly eager to talk. "Martha," he said over the phone, his voice tight. "We need to have a discussion." Martha smirked. "Now you want to talk?" A long pause. Then, "We're getting backlash. The hospital board wants to reevaluate certain policies. Would you be open to?" Martha cut him off. "You mean you're getting sued for negligence, and now you need a scapegoat?" Silence. Dr. Rhodes sighed. "Look, maybe we were too aggressive in our transition to AI. Maybe we could find a balance." Martha didn't let him finish. "I'm not coming back to work for you." Another pause. "But I will fight to make sure what happened to me, what happened to Linda, never happens again." And for the first time in weeks, she felt powerful again. Martha ended the call with Dr. Rhodes and sat in silence for a moment. She had expected satisfaction, maybe even victory, but all she felt was unfinished business. Because one phone call from a scared hospital executive wasn't enough. They would patch things up, release a statement, promise vague improvements, and then go right back to cutting human staff the moment the public outrage died down. No, this fight wasn't over. Martha picked up her phone and called Noah Carter. "We need to go bigger," she said. Noah hesitated. "How much bigger?" Martha gripped the phone tighter. "National." Taking the battle to the public the next few weeks were a whirlwind. The story had already spread fast, but a return to the old ways. She was demanding a future where technology served humanity, not the other way around. And as the applause thundered through the auditorium, Martha knew this wasn't just her fight anymore. It was a movement. The applause roared through the auditorium, but Martha didn't soak in the moment. She wasn't here for recognition. She was here for change. As she stepped down from the podium, reporters swarmed her, cameras flashing. "Mrs. Hale, do you believe AI has no place in healthcare?" one journalist asked. Martha paused, choosing her words carefully. "I believe AI can be a tool," she said, "but it should never be used to replace human care. Patients are more than just data points." A flurry of voices erupted as more questions were hurled at her. "Do you support a ban on AI in hospitals? Is this the beginning of a national movement? Will you take legal action against medtech solutions?" Martha held up a hand, silencing the noise. "I'm not here to fight technology," she said, her voice steady. "I'm here to fight a system that values cost-cutting over human lives." The cameras kept flashing. But in that moment, Martha didn't feel like a woman who had been cast aside. She felt like a force of nature. A call from the last person she expected that night. Martha sat in her tiny apartment, exhausted but alive in a way she hadn't felt in years. Her phone rang. She glanced at the screen. Dr. Alan Rhodes, her former boss, the man who had fired her. Martha let it ring 3 times before finally answering. "Dr. Rhodes," she said coolly. A deep sigh. "Martha, we need to talk." Martha leaned back in her chair. "Do we?" Dr. Rhodes hesitated. "I won't waste your time. The board is considering reinstating human nurses alongside AI." Martha arched a brow. "Is that so?" Another sigh. "Public pressure is mounting. Patients are refusing care from AI-only hospitals. Investors are nervous." Martha smirked. So it wasn't ethics that changed their minds, it was money. "Would you be willing to return?" Rhodes asked. Martha let the silence stretch. "Not as a nurse," she said finally. Rhodes sounded confused. "Then in what capacity?" "As a consultant," Martha said, "to ensure hospitals never again prioritize machines over human care." Silence. "Then, fine," Rhodes muttered. "I'll have legal draft something." Martha smiled. "Good," she said. "And while you're at it, start reinstating every nurse you fired." Rhodes sighed again, but he didn't say no. Martha hung up, exhaling. This wasn't just a victory, this was justice, a future she never expected. Months later, Martha sat across from Ethan in a bustling cafe. Her son stirred his coffee, looking more relaxed than he had in a long time. "You really turned the industry upside down," he joked. Martha smirked. "Someone had to." Ethan hesitated. I started working with a group that's designing AI to assist human nurses instead of replacing them." Martha's eyes softened. "You did?" Ethan nodded. "You were right, Mom. AI shouldn't be making life and death decisions alone. We're developing models that enhance patient care, but final calls are made by doctors and nurses." Martha felt something stir in her chest. Hope. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't just fighting against something, she was fighting for something. Ethan cleared his throat. "And I know I didn't say this before, but..." He hesitated. Martha reached across the table, squeezing his hand. "You don't have to say it," she said. "I know." A small smile tugged at his lips. And for the first time in years, Martha and her son sat in perfect understanding. Final scene. A new chapter begins a year later. Martha walked through the doors of a new kind of hospital. One where AI didn't replace nurses, but worked alongside them. Where human intuition and compassion were at the core of every patient interaction. She wasn't just an employee, she was a leader. Because she had proven that a machine could never replace what made her human. She had lost her job, she had lost her purpose. But in the end, she had found something far greater, a legacy. The fight wasn't just hers anymore, it was a movement. And she wasn't going anywhere. Martha stood in the hallway of Hopewell Medical Center, watching as a group of young nurses adjusted to their new environment. This wasn't just any hospital. This was one of the first facilities in the country to adopt a human-first AI model, where technology supported nurses, not replaced them. And Martha? She had been a driving force behind it. She walked into a training session where an instructor was showing new hires how to use AI-assisted diagnostic tools. At the front of the room, a young nurse hesitated before asking, "But what if the AI gets something wrong?" The instructor glanced at Martha. Martha smiled knowingly. "Then you do what nurses have always done," she said. "You use your judgment, your experience, and your instincts." She stepped forward. "The AI is a tool, a powerful one. But it will never replace what makes you a real nurse." The young nurse nodded, confidence growing. Martha turned, walking down the hall. A year ago, she had been cast aside, labeled obsolete. Today, she was building the future for those who came after her. Her career hadn't ended, it had evolved. And now, as she looked around this hospital, filled with nurses who still had a place in the world, she knew her fight had been worth it. Because in the end, she wasn't just saving lives anymore. She was saving an entire profession. And nothing, not even AI, could take that away from her. She was a nurse for 25 years, until a machine took her place. Martha dedicated her life to her patients, but one day the hospital fired her because AI could do her job better. She was replaced, rejected from every job. Even her own son told her to accept it and move on. But just when society cast her aside, she did something no one expected. She fought back and changed everything. Watch her story now. Subscribe for more shocking, real-life stories.